Breckers Plan.
I'm not gonna answer that if I just figure out how to do this thing right. There we go.
And you are live, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Meeting's in order. December 9th, 2025, Broadwater County Trust. Meeting with any comments on the subject not on the agenda. Any additions?
I guess the Lions Club would like to get on the agenda for next month because I didn't realize I didn't get them in there fast enough for this one. We're complete, you know, everything and
Okay.
little presentation with some pictures and
Yes,
stuff.
I will do
excellent.
that.
But we'll get on the next agenda.
Sounds good. And that's strictly for presentation stuff?
Yeah,
give us
to
an
end
update
everything
and-
out, that it works and everything's good, and
Good.
then we're,
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Moving on, please take a look at our last minutes.
that was a grant. I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes as presented.
Second,
Second?
there's been a motion to approve and second the minutes as presented. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. How about a financial report?
All right, so I have two claims, and your website, your Bluehost website was up. This year, I saved money by doing a 3-year on that, so it's gonna be a little bit more. And then you have to pay for the domain, and you also have to pay for protection on it. And I had to turn it in because it was due. I put it on my credit card, and I think I emailed all of you. So those are, that's those two claims for how much that is. And for some reason, the domain security comes at a different time than the website, and I don't know why. So there's those.
One claim in the amount of $15 for renewal of Bluehost domain privacy, and one for $561.83, and this is our Bluehost for 3 years, including domain.
Yes. And treasure.
Any discussion on that, or
I'll make a motion, we pay them.
Okay.
I have a
Second.
motion? And we have a second. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And if you'll go to your committed funds, we had one outstanding Townsend Youth Baseball, $10,000 that was paid. So in your Premier account, as of the 5th of December, you'll see you have $3,553,469.69. And in your county account, you have $318,013.33.
We need some projects.
Yes.
That we are very well healed. That's very nice to see, thanks to the stock market. Our people taking care of us in that capacity. I know we always discuss, do we want to transfer any funds? We're sitting on $300,000. The market's treating us really well.
Yeah, we could pull almost 700,000, still be above our agreed upon base. But
You know,
if we pull it out, then it just sits.
Yeah.
If we
Al,
don't
we've had
need
this
it, yeah.
discussion before. Do we want to raise our corpus? We're at, what are we, 2,750,000?
Something like that.
Is the floor we keep, and not allowed to go below that. It started out 2.5 million. We raised it to basically to keep up with inflation. So we raised that amount somewhat. We do have the option to do that. I'll just throw that out there and think about that till next meeting, if you
Yeah.
want to bring that up again. And
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I have something else. As long as you're talking about your account, can I interject? There was some kind of every once in a while, the trust fund has some kind of a settlement that happens with one of your companies that you invest in or something. This time it was a Kraft Heinz company settlement, and I just got this check for $1,510. So they just put that in your county account. So there's the
Okay.
receipt for that, and I can get that back and file it. But just to
Very
let you
good.
know. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Yeah, our managers handle that very well and have treated us very well with where they've put us over the years, so. That was a settlement account from Heinz Food.
So maybe for January, we could look at what the inflation's been last, because we haven't raised it, I don't think, in 2 or 3 years. And see if we should up that agreed upon base.
Yes.
Maybe up to, I don't know, it's just real quick. At 4%, it'd be about 110,000. So
28.6.
it would be, yeah. 286 or 2, if we looked at what the last couple of years are, just plugged a number in for January, I think if we were ready to discuss that number, I think that would
Okay.
be, other than just trying to grab something.
Grab one out of the air.
Yeah.
I think that's really a good idea, Al. I'd like to make sure we do it in round numbers,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but to assist my knowledge and memory of it, so. But, yeah, we'll discuss that and put that on the agenda for next meeting. We've covered financials and claims. Broadwater Fair, Denise Thompson.
Hello. Chair Mr. McCullough and distinguished members of the board, thank you for having me here today. It's been a while. I think you guys have had some surgeries and some breaks from meeting and hopefully some fun stuff along the way this past fall. And I know I was procrastinating on pulling this report together. It's kind of tough to do grant reports because some committees want a whole lot of detail. Some just give me the bare bones and we're good. So I'm going to provide both to you. You have a very detailed written report in front of you. I provided Abra with the master copy that has all the invoices and receipts and all of that stuff. I didn't include that in every packet because it would make them thicker and it's just more money to get the printing in. So the supporting docs are with her. And if you have any questions about that, if I need to come back or whatever, I'm happy to do that. Furthermore, I don't think you want me to read the written report in its entirety, but there are a couple sections I would like to read, and then I would like to just focus on the table. I'm more of a visual person, and I think it helps speed it up to get through it a little more quickly. But before I get started, I did attend the fair convention for the Northwestern United States in Billings along with Val Middlemas in November and got a lot of really great ideas moving forward. So obviously we're always excited, looking forward to the next year. Anyway, I'm going to read the first paragraph for you. The Rodeo Club had an incredible 2025 rodeo season due in large part to the generosity of the Broadwater County Trust Board. With your substantial help and that of the Rotary Club, sponsors, contestants, and amazing crowds, we saw the fruits of our labor in a big, beautiful way. In fact, the Townsend Rodeo received the Gold Rodeo of the Year for the state of Montana.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
And this was from the NRA amateur circuit rodeos of similar size around the state, and that's a huge accomplishment. This award was voted upon by the top 15 contestants in the state and the board of directors for NRA. Even though voting criteria is very individualized, folks look at things such as ground condition, facilities, overall rodeo experience, added money to their events, and efforts of each rodeo committee. More importantly, local folks were quite pleased. No doubt, the Trust Board grant was pivotal in the Broadwater Rodeo Fair Association being considered cream of the crop in 2025. So kudos to each of you, and we really appreciate it. We actually, a few of us went up to Kalispell for the NRA finals, which was also in November, and we received our award then. And so it was quite an honor. I think Townsend Rodeo has received that one other time. So, you know, it's not the easiest thing to get. As you know, contestants are very particular. So it was nice to please them and for them to recognize our hard work that was facilitated for sure through all of you. So thank you. Basically, the next big chunk of this report is just talking about the finances and each of the project line items. So I think I will go to closing, and then we'll go to the table, and then if we need to backtrack, we can. In closing, the Broadwater Rodeo and Fair Association wishes to share our immense gratitude for the generosity of the Trust Board for making the Public Enhancement Project possible. The various projects were quite noticeable, appreciated enormously by the public, and will have a lasting impact on the facilities and experiences for contestants, fans, and participants alike. We have beautiful facilities, and our grounds are known around the state as one of the best. Between your financial contribution totaling $47,689.30 and our match funds totaling $40,673.32, we can see a strong partnership, hopefully one that will continue into the future when the need arises. So I was glad to hear that Mr. McCullough thinks that you need to spend some money. I bet we can help you with that, if you're open to that.
We appreciate your efforts.
Okay, thank you. And we'll save that all for another day, but warmest regards and deepest respect to each of you for working with the Rodeo Club and being so committed and passionate about rodeo and all the needs of our community. Long live Cowboys. And hopefully most of you are watching the NFR on TV right now. It's going on for 10 days. Anyway, so if you look at your table, everything left of the double line, unfortunately it's not colored for you guys, but everything on the left side of this double line is from our application to you. So it's just reiterating what we sent in our application. Then everything to the right, basically those four last columns, that's actually what happened. So what's most important is if you look at the Broadwater County Trust Board grant amount request and the funds spent, they are equal. So you approved the $47,689.30, we spent the $47,689.30. And every line item is accounted for. With each of those tasks to the far left, I believe there were 8 full tasks noted in detail in the written explanation and on the far left. And then in kind of the grayed out last two columns before the total column at the very end, the grayed out is match. The match would be any kind of in-kind volunteer work and money that the Rodeo Club provided out of our coffers, and a Rotary grant that we had to go get last minute. And fortunately they came through because our sound system continued to need more money to get that darn thing to function, and we still have a few glitches which I do want to share with you. So that's why there was some added money. So at the end of the day, if you go to even the very first page of your written report, the top right box tells you the grant funds, the total match funds, and the total project cost. It was almost a 50-50. Your grant provided over 50% of the monies. We matched it with about 50%, with a grand total of over $88,000 to get it done. It's incredible the amount of volunteer work that has to go along with a grant. It's just, and it's a good partnership. It's a good way to do it, but it kind of surprises us that we have to do so much to spend that good money and to do it in the right way. And luckily we had a strong volunteer force that we got it done. And I kind of explained that in detail with each of those line items. Again, I'm happy to kind of shut up and let you look through it if you want to, but for the sake of time, and I know you have other presenters, I don't want to, linger up here unless you have questions, but I do want to touch on that sound system. So if you go back, well, first off, are there any questions on this financial table that I could maybe try to help clarify? I tried to be extremely detailed, more detailed than I probably needed to be, but it helps the rodeo club remember what the heck did we do? And moving forward, what do we need to do? And where did we fall short? And how can we do better? It's more for that and for myself because I just can't remember. So I put it all down on paper. Do you have any questions about this financial? And I guess, meaning with the fact that I write more than I should, at the very, very bottom of your table, there's a big roll at the very bottom. That honestly has nothing to do with the trust board. It was the Rotary grant, but it helped facilitate the sound system, and they didn't require any report to them. So I thought, I'm going to just put this information in here because then we'll always have it so that we remember how we used their money, honestly how the trust board ended up being a match to that, and our contributions as a club also was a contribution to that too. So I took it out last night when I was finishing, and I thought, I'm going to stick it back in there because then everything's in one place. I was very clear that it has no implication on our dealings together. It's just a little bit more information to help ourselves. As I said, I'll jump to the sound system unless I've led to a question for you guys on that table.
Proceed.
Okay. So if you go to, let's see, what page is it? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 3 and 4. So item 8, the sound system. It has been our biggest challenge. After that computer-generated analysis, we didn't have enough money because we had asked you for exactly what we needed. We had to come up with a fair amount more, anywhere from 10 to 20,000 is what they were telling us, and we didn't know, and we were under a time crunch. So that's when we, I think I put here 40,508 ended up being the total for that sound system. And one of the things that happened is we had to redo the power to the crow's nest. When we were up testing it with Jericho, we were testing the breakers, and it blew the power strip in the back of the box of the new sound system. And we almost quit breathing. Luckily, it was just a power strip that you can go buy uptown, and they stuck it back in, and it didn't harm the bank of the system. And so we quickly got a hold of Light Electric. They came in and put in a bigger breaker box with a lot more power. I'm not a power guy. Is it 10 amps more? Does that sound right? But we have extra. We have extra, and then I had them put in a couple extra surge protectors, and we had a whole new wire to the barn, which feeds. We just totally upgraded everything. That was another expense that we weren't planning on, but we were glad that we found it before a bad thing happened. So that was an additional cost. And so we went to the Rotary Club asking actually for 25,000 because as you start working, you go, well, we should do this, we should do this, we should do this. So our list got longer. They only were able to help us with the rest of the sound system, which was totally fine. That was our main priority. They wanted to help us with the rest of it, but they were spreading their funds around as well. So their money went to the sound system. I think we have about $4,000 left out of their money that is hopefully going to go towards addressing the last sound system issue. When we got through Rodeo and Fair, tested it, I think it's a great system for the grandstands and for the arena, but because all of the contestants have to warm up and ride their horses out further on the north, it's not loud enough to help them. So we need to add another speaker or two, which could, and I put this in there, it could add anywhere from 10 to 15,000 more dollars, which is ridiculous, but they have to do another line in our box too. So we just took a deep breath and we said, okay, because we were going to cram and get it done this fall, so everything was good. But we just decided with their estimate of 10 to 15,000, let's wait, because we've only got that 4 to 5,000 left in our budget from Rotary. We've spent all your money. Let's just wait till after the first of the year. We're going to reevaluate everything and make sure that we're being wise and to see what we have in our budget, if we can actually cover that 5 to 7,000 above and beyond what we still have left over from Rotary. We've spent all your money. So those are some dilemmas. They're not big dilemmas, but they need to be addressed. And we need a special kind of little box so we can plug in like the 8-second buzzer, the electric eye buzzer, all this other stuff that we didn't have a way to do that. And it didn't even dawn on us till we're going, the rough stock riders can't hear the buzzer. Well, we can't plug it into anything. So we had to explain that to Jericho, and they're like, okay, you need one of these kind of boxes. Yeah, okay. So that's another $300 to $500 that we're going to have to get. So we're kind of figuring it out. I think it went really well, but we have to get this addressed. And then when I went to the fair convention, everybody on the rodeo side talks about all their VIP sections, which we don't have one. So we actually started exploring, hey, we've got some great ideas on some VIP seating and section ideas that's going to require some building. And in that, it's going to require probably $2,000 to $3,000 more dollars for a little bit more speaker. Wherever we decide to do this, whenever we decide to do this, and however we decide to do this, possibly coming back to you. But again, we're not even ready for that. But I did put that in here more so to keep us on track at the Rodeo Club. So with that, I think I've covered the high points. But again, I'm happy to pause and just listen to your comments or questions.
No, my comments would be you've done a heck of a good job.
Okay.
Very nice and very detailed, and we really appreciate how far you've gone in to presenting that for us and
Okay.
explaining what's going on. So, great job.
Well, thank you, Kim. Appreciate it.
So it needs the, again, I really appreciate this write-up. If, in our putting together our annual report and stuff that we've done as a board, could we use some of this material and quote you directly in the report? Because some of the wording is really good.
Oh, absolutely.
Appreciate
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Use whatever you need to use. If I need to provide some more information for you, I'm happy to do that next month. I tried to be concise. I apologize this didn't get into your hands last week so you could have time to digest it before today. But if you're laying in bed at night like I do and something pops into your mind, you can even text me. I'll be awake probably. But get back to me, and myself or somebody on the rodeo board would be happy to, we want to be good stewards of the money. We know accountability is actually probably paramount, and so we want to do justice to that and show our appreciation. So thank you.
Excellent.
The VIP thing, I attended the one in Marr County,
Mm-hmm.
at the rodeo there in the VIP section, and it generated almost $15,000 for the rodeo. Very nicely done.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And there's oodles of ways you can do it, but exactly right. It provides, one, a good chunk of money for the organization putting the event on, and two, it's a lot more comfortable, personable, enjoyable for those VIP folks. And there's many different ways to do it. We have some great ideas, and we have a good facility to kind of picture that going forward. But again, and something I did put on here that we would like to speak to you about, and the airport board and the county and the planning board, is we don't know what the future of the fairgrounds is. We really don't. I mean, if you look at I think possibly the trust board provided money to the county for a countywide planning. if you look at the details of that, it doesn't even show the fairgrounds on the growth. It's not on the maps. And so that was a big concern for us a couple years ago. Maybe it was just a weird oversight. And the airport they're always thinking about expansion. The next expansion they would do would turn it into something like Deer Lodge and Ennis and one other, Dillon, I think. Now, some of the airport folks are like, we don't want to go that big. We want to keep it for the small guy that loves his little hangar. We don't want that huge money coming in. But part of the fairgrounds facilities are in the flight zone. So if they go bigger, which to me seems almost impossible, but in talking with Mary Bell with the engineering company, she said, no, it's not impossible. We wouldn't do it for 20 more years, but at some point, if we do expand, a big chunk of that arena, grandstand, everything on that west side is going to be impacted and basically would have to be abandoned or moved. There's the city property on that corner. There's the McCullough property and Nelson property. There's all that with the hangars they're trying to expand. And that's all fine, but we want to know how we're going to fit in and how we can fit in so that we're not working hard to get more money to fix something that might be obsolete. Do you know what I'm saying? And so we would appreciate your insight on that. And I know Al and I chatted, and he said you guys are trying really hard to hopefully get a trail out to there from the town. We've wanted to see that for many years. So there's so many things that we can do to really just add even more possibilities and character to the facility. But if other groups or organizations are going a different direction and we don't communicate and we don't know what that is, I think it's going to be kind of a disaster down the road. Maybe after I'm dead and gone, I don't know. So we would like to visit with you at some point about that. And because we definitely could use more money, but maybe we need to use the money in a completely different direction, and that we don't know. So think about that.
It looks like we're going to need to do a review of the master plan that we participated in.
Okay.
And maybe after the first of the year would be a good time to start that.
That might be a good idea. Yeah. I'll dig out my old document, and if you want, I can come back, or maybe we can pull a couple people from each different entity and have a meeting, because we care about our community and we know that you do, and growth is inevitable, but it needs to be done wisely and tastefully, and we just want clarification. So
That's why we have these really good commissioners.
exactly.
Just for clarification, you're talking about the Parks and Rec master plan?
Oh, there's a
No.
county one.
The county, okay.
Yeah. It was done by a Missoula firm.
Is that online?
The fairgrounds master plan?
No, it's for the whole county.
It's for the whole county.
And everything's kind of color coded, and it tells you what areas are it didn't even show the golf course. It had that gone too. So I think it was just an oversight, I hope, but, and it's probably not a big deal, because I think it's draft form. I don't know if it was officially adopted.
May as well mention it now while it's early.
Yeah,
Good time to bring it up.
yeah. So,
Your level of professionalism here is appreciated. That's very nice. Thank
great.
you.
All right. Thank you.
Well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you, guys.
Okay, McCarthy Park.
Hello.
Introduce yourself, Alex.
Yeah, I'm Alex Potter. I'm from the Big Sky Big Leadership group that put together the McCarthy Park project. I did email a report, but I emailed it too late for Aubrey to get it into your packets, so she will forward that to you. I think the big takeaways from the park is, I don't know if everybody's drove by and just seen, it looks way better than it did before. I did include some pictures of what the courts looked like before and after, and what the basketball courts looked like before and after. So it was a big project. I think, a lot bigger than the four of us realized it was going to be. It took us a lot longer to get it done as well. Some of the things were lack of volunteers to help us paint. There were some days I was going to the courts at 6 a.m. painting for 2 hours and then going to my full-time job to just try and get it done. I know Liz put a lot of back-breaking work into it as well. So that was a big issue. And then also the weather. It kept raining, and so we kept having to postpone. And then our volunteers we lined up couldn't help us on the days that we postponed to. So that was their biggest issue. But I think the big impact is it was used a lot this summer. I saw lots of pickleballers out there playing. I didn't see very many tennis players, but I could have just missed it. Lots of kids out on the basketball court. Another piece that we added to it is we did purchase some bleachers that can be moved, so they can be put at the tennis courts, they could be moved to the baseball field, and if need be could be taken to Fall Fest as like an extra set of bleachers. We also did purchase from the Boy Scouts a couple of picnic tables to make that place a little bit more family friendly and to just add on to the new playground equipment that was added in there by Stacy Summers project. So I just want to real quick go through the financial piece of it. So paint and supplies was $18,266.99. A1 rentals for a big scraper for the courts was $177.43. Just various materials, $604.20. Out of the funds that we got from the Rotary, we did supply some water and snacks and that sort of thing for our volunteers. So that was $259.25. Pickleball nets were $428.69. Basketball, we got new rims and backboards for the basketball court. That was $3,630. The crack fill was $4,500. The new tennis equipment, so we did get some new, we got one bench to sit next to the courts for the tennis girls, and then we got a second bench that has some storage in it for them to put some equipment in there. And we got some new nets for them, and that was $2,493.93. The bleachers and the picnic tables were $4,436.83. And then we just had, I put in there various reimbursements. So like John Hahn had purchased a tape roller so we could make sure our lines were straight. So we reimbursed him for that. And then one of our volunteers drove back and forth to Helena quite a bit to pick up paint for us. So we did reimburse him for some fuel. So at the end of the project, we have $18 left. I would like for Stoke to keep that $18 because they are going to have to 1099 the guy that filled the cracks. So it's not something they have in their budget is to pay for that 1099. So then they can just have some extra help filing that fee for that gentleman. But other than that, I don't think I have anything to report.
I had a question.
Yeah.
We had talked about signage for over there for the public. When you go to the tennis courts and they're locked, and you guys were going to get signage that said you could get the key at the sheriff's department?
The sheriff's department asked us not to do that.
Not to lock it or?
Not to tell them that, not to post that you get it from the sheriff's department. Yeah, they didn't want any part of it.
It's still got to be accessible to the public.
Right. And so that's part, I'm going to go back to the city hall about that, because I don't know how to make it accessible to the public if the sheriff's department's not willing to help out with that piece.
And they carry the keys.
They carry the keys, and they said they would not send a deputy to come open it. And they don't want to give the combination out to everybody. So I don't know what that looks like.
Interesting, because the rodeo grounds, you get a key from the sheriff's office to access the fairgrounds. When we lock the big gates, if somebody wants to go ride or something, they have to go to the sheriff's office to get the key. I hate to say that because I don't want to lose our opportunity, but it's been like that for years and years and years.
Yeah, and it also sounded like they didn't want to police it. Like they didn't want to monitor who's in there and what's going on in the tennis courts.
Yeah, I don't think that, when I talk with Sheriff Rouser, I don't think the big rub is the key at the sheriff's department necessarily. It was them having to go to unlock it. I think that's the rub, because those deputies had other duties they needed to do.
Why would they have to go to unlock it if they're giving you a key and checking it out? And then you just take the key back to them.
I don't know that piece of it.
Question for Sheriff.
There used to be a code, and what you could do is email John Odell for the code, because my nephew went over there to play several years ago, and it had a code on it. And I asked John, what's the code for the things so the public can play tennis? And he gave it to him. And so yeah, policing that is difficult. I mean, if everybody knows the code, then you got a problem. So everybody has a key. So.
No,
But
so
it's public, I mean.
it is public, so that's why when I meet with City Hall to discuss this with them, it's gonna be one of my questions, is how do we open it back up to the public?
Yeah, and then you got the weekend to deal with, and City Hall is not open on the weekend, whereas the sheriff's office is at 20.
And my understanding is the sheriff's office does have a key, but they did not want us to post a sign that says they have the key. Do you guys have a sign posted?
Yep, sign on the front gate.
Interesting.
Access, they go to the sheriff's office and get a key.
Get the key, the sheriff does not come out there and open it for them. No, they shouldn't have to do that.
And then when
Yeah.
they're done, they have to take the key back.
Mhm.
And it's worked well. The only issue that we have is like if, let's say somebody's writing and then somebody comes in like a half hour later and they want to stay longer, then it's like, well, I hate leaving the key with you because I'm the one that went and got it, so my name's on the sign-up sheet.
Mhm.
A lot of people have to leave their ID with them, and then they'll get it back when they bring the key back. I mean, that's one way I've seen it done before,
Okay,
but
yeah, it's definitely something I'll bring up with
just
City
that our
Hall.
funds that go out are for the public. So,
Details. Yeah,
details.
gotta
Yeah.
be worked out.
So I'll work on that.
Okay.
Good job on the project.
Yeah, really.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow.
It was very, very much a lot of work. And you guys will see, I included a picture of my 10-year-old out there painting the tennis courts, because I was like, let's go, man, we're painting the courts. Anything
No,
else?
that's beautiful. Wow.
Good. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, baseball.
Good morning. I apologize for being late this morning. I had some stuff come up at work, but John Liley, Townsend Youth Baseball. I didn't get anything to Abra, but I will give her a breakout once I get that from Courtney in regards to what the actual numbers are. I can give you the overall view on kind of what we've done so far, if that works. So a couple things that I don't know if I talked about this during our application, but when we run, we've got 2 big baseball fields over there, and we run 2 batting cages. And when we run those batting cages, we spike off the electrical off of both the dugouts over there. And when the city put this in a while back, they split everything back up to the concession stand, but it all ran off one system. If somebody's an electrician, they'll know more about this than I do. But so the long story is, the draw on the amperage for that system was tripping the breaker. So we ended up having to bring Henley Electric in, and what they did was they redid the junction box for us. They brought out electrical to that first side of the Babe Ruth field, so the field on the right. And what you'll see there is you'll see some poles being dug here in the next 10 days. We're going to actually put up a scoreboard up there. Our kids have done a phenomenal job. We have run the concession stands for the Montana High School Rodeo Association for the last 2 years here in Townsend, and we raised enough money off of that to help at least purchase part of that scoreboard. So that's where that's going to go into. But we also needed a scoreboard on that middle field that we had. And so what we did was we went ahead and got with the city, and they approved us to run the electrical from the concession stand over to that middle field. We ran that line a little bigger in anticipation that someday maybe McCarthy Park would have lights on it, so that the city wouldn't have to come back and pay another electrician to do that. We just had Henley go ahead and up the size on the wiring that they ran out there, as well as the funneling system for that. So that was kind of the big project that we've done so far. But a couple other things that we ended up finishing. We ended up finishing the roofs on the dugouts. I don't know if you guys have been by there lately to look at them, but some of those dugouts had the old shingling type on there, and we were able to put some of the metal roofing on there. So we got that done. They look really nice. We just have to go in there and do some painting. We lost a little time with Montana weather like we typically do, so some of those dugouts are painted like the blue, the royal blue color, that blue color actually matches the high school's colors as well. So hopefully we'll be able to finish those other 2 dugouts on the right-hand side as well. We were able to work with Mr. Watson's class, and they went ahead and built us a Bulldog stencil. So we're going to actually, once we get those dugouts finalized, there's a stencil that we'll put on there for the dugout face logo. So hopefully we'll get that done here. I'm skipping ahead for my road ahead, but that's kind of where we're at on that. I talked about within the next 10 days, Yesco, Ben Tony with Yesco and his crew, we have the poles for that first scoreboard for that big field that we have. That'll go in here since we have a little bit of nice weather. We'll try to get that dug out and cemented in here in the next 10 days. So more to follow on that. On the batting cages, so if you're looking down McCarthy Park, we've got 2 batting cages. Batting cage 2 is kind of on the left. Batting cage 1 is on the right with the big telephone poles. We ended up having to replace the cabling around there. So some of our funds went to that. We put 3 new cables over there. We thought we might have had some vandalism going on over there on the netting and the cabling on that. So we went ahead and just replaced that cabling altogether. We did notice some vandalism over there, so I talked with Sheriff Rouser to see if we could do an extra patrol over there. We will probably end up purchasing just some battery operated motion lights to put on some of our sheds over there, because we noticed somebody was trying to beat on the locks on the sheds with the hammer. So we'll have to figure that out, because like everybody else, we're putting a lot of time, effort, and energy into that place. We don't want it to get vandalized. So as far as the road ahead, we still need to do, like I said, we need to do the painting once the weather cooperates with us inside the dugouts as well as the benches. We're also going to, not initially on all of the dugouts, but on the dugouts on the right-hand side, Jalen Schmucker is an independent contractor. Mr. Schmucker's agreed to build kind of some shelves for us. So when, like you see in, like if you watch Major League Baseball, you know, when they go into their dugouts, they have the shelves on the back where they can put their stuff in there. He's agreed to go ahead and build those shelvings for us, so we'll have those in at least the bigger dugouts. We still haven't done anything yet with what we call the rookie dugouts, and that's the little field right by the Mormon church there, kind of right across from the tennis courts. We haven't done anything with that yet, but once the weather starts cooperating with that, we're going to replace some of that tin that's been kind of blown out, and then we'll redo some of that dugout, and those will all be painted the exact same blue color, so everything will match for our little guys as well. We've done some standard maintenance on the fields with Mr. Crush with the city. We've cut out some more, about 6 inches we cut out on that middle field to give us a little bigger infield. So we had to rent some equipment to do that, so we went ahead and rented some equipment for that. That gives us a little more play for our older kids to be able to play on there, and that bin field meets that requirement that they have to have. The fencing is still 200 feet, so we're good there. Speaking of fencing, we haven't purchased yet, but we will, as part of our next road ahead here in the next several months, purchase some safety topping that's going to go around the fencing on there. There's not a lot of it, but there's a few areas on that fencing where there's some of the chain link that sticks up, and we just don't want any of our kiddos to get hurt by trying to catch some baseballs over that. And then one of our future endeavors as well, depending on the money that we have left over, is since we're putting in a scoreboard eventually we'll put in a scoreboard for both the big field and the little field, but for the big field for now, we'd kind of like a place out of the weather to go ahead and have folks that are in there running the scoreboard and the PA system and things like that. So what we're going to try to do is work with the school system. Mr. Watson's class, he typically builds sheds and stuff as part of that high school program that they have there. So we'll get with him. The goal is to just have just a small, not really shed, but just a small area that they can put behind that first home plate there. So we'll be able to do that. I can't remember the lady before me. She did talk about some bleachers, which is great. Those bleachers are phenomenal, but we have to find a way to secure them because they're so light that people are starting to walk off with them. So we'll notice them in different parts of the park. So we've asked Mr. Crush to, we would purchase them, the chains and the locking mechanisms, if he would just go ahead and come in and actually just put them into the ground, and we can just lock them into the ground. I guess that's where we're at. So, yeah. But we're still working along. We do have a lot of volunteers with those kids coming out still. We still anticipate the same amount of numbers this year, which is phenomenal. So we really appreciate the funding that you folks have allowed us to give. I'll go ahead and get with Ms. Lewis, and we'll go ahead and go over what that breakout is for you. So next time when I show up, I can at least compete with Denise as far as a product for you guys. Yeah, for sure.
The bar is pretty high.
It's very, very high. I don't think I'll get there, but I'll swing for the fences for sure. Any questions kind of on what we're doing over there at McCarthy Park?
Oh, you're doing great. Wow.
So it sounds like the, having the trust board's grant has maybe helped provide additional footing for people to understand the need for their time and energy to help match and do more and all that kind of stuff. Is that close?
It has. I don't have the exact figures, right, but like Henley Electric, phenomenal. They've donated all of their labor. We're just going to end up paying for parts. Jalen Smucker, I can't remember what his construction company is, but they've donated a bunch of time on that as well. The only caveat that we kind of had with the construction portion was if he could have the kids come out and help. Obviously, they're not going to run saws or anything like that, but they could help with everything else. That's one of the founding things we've tried to instill within our kids is the core of, just giving back, kind of like we do like with Rotary. Rotary gives us a little bit of money every year, and some other folks do, so our kiddos get out there on the highway and we clean up sections of the highway for them to earn that money and get a little buy-in into because it's their park. I mean, it's our parks, all of our parks, right? But they're the ones using it, so hopefully when that day comes, when we turn it over to them, they have a little pride in what they've done and what they've developed for the community. So
Henley Electric, for you guys don't know, that's Sean Busey.
Yeah.
yeah,
In case you didn't know who that is.
yeah, Sean's a great guy.
Born and
Yeah, for
raised
sure.
here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And then our signs are coming out of, I think I told you this, our signage is coming out of Yesco, Ben Tony's company, or whoever he works for out of
Yeah.
Alabama.
It is Yesco, yeah.
Yesco, yeah.
He put in the sign for the Townsend Area Chamber of Commerce for us.
Oh,
The
okay.
one down by the swimming pool. We worked with Ben on that.
Yeah, he's a good salesman. He upsold us because we had a different system picked out. But the nice thing is this signage that we'll have is compatible, and it's almost the exact same thing that they put into the new high school gym and stuff too. So if there's any questions on that for maintenance or anything, they'll all be able to answer that and get it done. So, yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Yeah. Upgrading them fields a lot. That's perfect.
We love
I've
it.
on them for years.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, them dugouts were precious.
Yeah, there's quite a few. The only other thing that I didn't talk about, we brought it up with the city, so I don't know if a lot of you folks know Mr. Sauter, but the Sauter family was very prominent here in the community for baseball. So I think we're going to start naming those fields, and the first one on the right-hand side, I think, will be Sauter Field. We talked with the family, and they blessed off on it. So we'll go ahead and pitch that at the next city council meeting, but I window shopped it with Mayor Rouser, and she's on board with it, so. Just a little more ownership for the kids in the fields and things like that, so.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So if you know anybody else, we're looking for a name for somebody to name those other two fields after us.
Brecker.
No,
Yeah.
McCullough.
Yeah, for sure.
Dilger.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of that too, so. Pending your questions, that's what I've got for right now, but, yes, sir.
So, I appreciate your report, and I appreciate hearing all the stuff that's going on from other people, to help make it all better. And I guess probably because of the grant that the board here has granted, you're giving us a lot of detail. My question is, have you talked with the Park and Recs Board, and given them similar updates of the kind of things you're looking at and doing?
I have, yeah. So I can't remember when the last time, I think it was a couple months ago, we gave an update. Gary and I came in and gave an update to the Parks Board, just to kind of keep them going. We lobbied a little bit, as Jess probably did too, with the master plan for Parks and Rec. That's still a slow-going process, but yeah, for sure. But in the meantime, we're gonna, like we say in the military, we're just gonna, keep working and keep improving our foxhole from what we got and what we can improve on here till we move on to something else. So, yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Plenty of pictures when your final summation and written part, make sure there's plenty of pictures.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a ton with the kids over there, so we'll make sure we include it all.
Excellent.
And we'll probably throw something in the paper for sure. All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you, John.
guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, letters of interest from Virgil and Kim. Would you guys have your letters submitted for reapplication?
Yes.
What letter?
And you,
Yes.
I gave you copies, Mr. Chairman, or you have copies.
Oh, all right. Excellent.
No, I actually forgot I had to do
Do
it.
we need to put that in the form of a motion for recommendation, or how do we?
Jesse, Mr.
Yes.
Commissioner, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Well, I can't recommend it.
Well, I would move that we support the letters that Virgil and Kim have provided to be reappointed to the trust board.
I would second that.
All right, we have a motion to endorse our candidates who have applied, Virgil and Kim. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You guys probably abstained from that.
I did.
Yes.
She voted for Virgil.
I did.
Motion carried.
Combine the motions there. Thank you.
Yeah, clarification.
I like that board.
Okay, trust board projects, kind of a year in review. This one was kind of a nice year in review, and we got
Yeah.
it all stacked up with one group here for this year. Virgil, you have anything to add to that?
No, the thing I noticed, and that's why I made a comment, we need to review the master plan with those folks. And one of the things that we haven't heard from is the 4-H building, where we put a substantial amount of money into the kitchens and all the remodeling. And it'd be nice to hear from them what the usage has been for the last couple of years now. They should have a pretty good idea how many people went through the, for whatever group happened to be, so that I think it'll be a surprise to us that there's probably more use than we thought.
Mhm. I think that's a really good idea. That was a little muddy in that we supported the county financially to approve that. It wasn't we all dumped a bunch of money on that one, but I think it turned into the 4-H building remodel, those bathrooms, and
Wonderful, much better facility.
changed it a little
Oh,
lot.
wow.
So just lavatories,
I know.
and they work.
So do you want that as on your next agenda? You want someone to come to talk, to discuss that? Does that need to be on an agenda for the next time, or?
Why don't you throw it in there, out there, and see if we can get somebody to give us an update on that, maybe on numbers.
Who, Denise, who would be
Well, Jess.
Jessica?
Yeah, that's what I
Yes,
would
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
Jessica
Okay.
right here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sounds great.
I'll talk to her.
Yep.
I think it would be interesting to know the use not only, for the building, the 4-H building, how many meetings, whatever goes on in there, how many people, but the same for the pavilion thing out there. I've heard some discussion that there's been other events and things out there under that. I don't hear about them or anything, so I think that would be good to know.
Denise, when they were at the 4-H building, do they have access to the pavilion, like when Nikki got married and then they got married there under the pavilion and then went into the 4-H building? Is that
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
part?
on Jessica's rental agreement, and then we have a rental agreement for the rodeo club for the other stuff. They can pick what they want to rent.
Okay,
Yep.
so they rent that separately in
Well,
addition to?
honestly, I don't know if
Okay.
the pavilion costs different, because I don't ever look into that.
Sure, yeah.
But Jessica would. be
She would
able
have
to-
all that.
Yeah,
Okay.
she would have all of that.
Excellent.
Okay,
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be good.
because
Yeah,
I
it'd
know
be
they used
interesting.
that for the wedding, they got married and then, so that would be extra income.
I like that idea. But these projects have really changed the picture out there.
Oh, incredible.
Our whole town is starting to really,
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I love it,
Yeah.
it's really nice,
Agreed.
really nice.
Yeah, for the lack of volunteers with that, you need in numbers for a lot of these events and things to pull off. The leadership volunteers are really pulling through and getting a lot of it done, even with the lack of the, I don't know, I want to say lower level, but just regular volunteers, you know?
Yeah,
There is a decline in that volunteer spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why,
Yeah.
yeah.
but you're right, though. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's what I see, you know.
Yeah, well done.
And Mr. Chairman, you did have 4. I think we did have 4. It was the Lions Club, the rodeo, the baseball, and the tennis courts. I think we had 4, okay. And then the museum, did you want to, that might be new business. You want to share that in new business? I don't know where you want to.
Yeah, that's,
Right.
please consider the following as a report for our progress on the construction of addition to the Montana County, Broadwater County Museum. March of 2024, the trust board approved $8,400 to the museum to develop a preliminary architectural drawing for potential expansion. We have worked with the State Architectural of Helena to develop a floor plan that was satisfactory to us. After many meetings, we have come up with a plan that that is agreeable to us. However, in the view of current economic environment of the county, the board of directors and the historical society have determined to put the project on hold and revisit as the economy improves. Linda Huth. So,
So we just won't be seeing any,
nothing imminent,
Withdrawal
it sounds
request
like,
from them.
yeah.
okay.
So does that mean,
Unless what they did with the state, they have to pay something like that.
so they had a master plan done, they're just not going forward with it?
Right,
Okay.
yep.
We approved the grant.
We do also have a letter. Dear members of the board and trust board, thank you for your support of the $30,000 for McCarthy Park upgrades. We are grateful for this project was able to happen with your assistance. Thanks again, Big Sky Leadership. Multiple signatures. Very nice.
Mr. Chairman, I can do a couple updates from the Trails Committee and the Silos Project.
Please.
If you want me to do those now.
Yep.
Okay. So, from the Trails Committee, the BCDC Chartered Trails Committee, that Trails Plan is now in the hands of BCDC. BCDC is the final draft. I think it'll stay that way. That way it's easy to amend and work in the future. So everything that's gone on for the past 3 years is in the document that's in there. If you want to read a really boring document with just a lot of writing, it's there. I think most of the questions that people have asked about how to, where are sources, all that, we got, I don't know, 3 pages of grant sources in that document. The funding mechanisms are identified that other people have used and how they pursued grants and monies and held things and met some of the criteria, especially the long-term maintenance thing that the commissioners have told the people about, in the city as well. So those kind of things are in there. It talks about every trail segment that was identified by the group. That's about 60 segments. I think it amounts to, it's a lot of miles. Most of those miles are all already roadways. And either federal, state, or county roads. There are some trails that are identified for future consideration around Canyon Ferry Lake, from the Beacon Hill parking lot up there above the McMaster's, out around that, and then another one that goes down to the lake from up there. Those will take some BLM agency approvals and stuff. But we tried to identify everything, we tried to get everything in the report. And so I know that people are now looking to start discussions of, well, where do we go? I think working with the Park and Recs Board, they're trying to figure out what role they play with trails across the county and stuff, because some of these trails could occur without, you know, the commissioners having to be involved. So they could be on private land, they could be on highways, state or federal highway right-of-ways. So it's all in there. I think the ones that stick out is obviously the bridge over the river. That is the absolute pinch point of the whole system, north and south. It blocks local use, it blocks regional use, which would be more the business tourism impacting type stuff. But what we did in the plan identify is the connections to Jefferson County, Marr County, Lewis and Clark County, and Gallatin County. So we have trails that go outside of Broadwater County that connect into highways, roadways, or trail systems in all those areas. So the bridge is probably the big one, and it's also going to be the toughest. But by having a plan and having other local work get started at some point will help build energy towards getting that thing recognized and going. The trail to the fairgrounds, that was identified in that fairgrounds master plan, and along with the water line deal. So we've gone through some ups and downs with that discussion. I think now it's on the upside, and the water system that was put in at the depth and the structure that putting a footpath over the top of it. Various places, however it goes. I mean, there's water design stuff that has to go. But anyway.
It would accommodate that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And then the Centerville Trail with discussion of developing the county parklands on Centerville, and then obviously on out to the other block. Centerville Road would be a really high need to get that one done. And then the Silos Roadside Trail, getting from the campground up to the roadside with the new highway construction coming in, and potentially some county movement out there. So that's, those were kind of the ones that really stood out, along with the city sidewalk street plan that was put together. So it outlined a system of sidewalks on the kind of the outer fringes of the city and some through the city. And so it'll be up to them to decide how they want to go about that. But at some point it may be, the trust board may be involved in a discussion about how do we get the basic design planning work for these things structured. There are grants out there, they all require some kind of match. You have to, some of them you have to basically hire the engineering firm to do that level of detail work to then be able to submit a quality product that's going to get looked at. The transportation alternatives, people in the state have been really good to talk to. They also say, if you don't have an engineering firm doing the project design of this thing, you're wasting your time. So at some point, we've got to make some decisions, I think, as a county, and probably the city, that we gotta get some money together to get some of that kind of planning done to get us on the board so we can start having those detailed discussions. I think that kind of covers that, so we're kind of at that point. It's time to start talking about getting detailed.
Engineering.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're progressing well on it though, and of course, it's been 3 years coming, and a lot of efforts.
You know what was interesting is that all started from that community workshop back in '23. And about 2 months after that workshop, our committee got together at their request, I think all the committees did, and put together kind of a work plan for how they were gonna go through their stuff. I have never looked at that thing again until we had the wrap-up of that workshop here, I guess maybe it was in October. It was October. And they handed back the work plan. And you had already had discussion with BCDC that this plan was basically done and coming to them in November or December. We looked at the work plan and it said in December 2025 we would be done.
Wow.
Wow. So that was like, I
Pretty
looked at that and
darn
said, my God, look at that.
Wow.
We didn't underestimate or overestimate our time or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, a quick update on the silos project, because this board's put a lot of money into the silos. I think last go-round was the request for letters of support. The BOR was putting in for grants. They did submit that with all the letters that were rounded up, and they are very thankful for all that. I can't report what the status of that grant is based on the shutdown stuff. But they did put in for a $12 million grant to put into the silos. So that's it's substantially less than what the master plan called for. The master plan is also based on all the engineering firm costs and stuff, and so. But $12 million would be the big start. But they don't know if they would get it all or half of it or what or anything. So we don't know yet. But I just wanted everybody to know that the effort of going through getting those letters written and stuff, they did use it, they did get it submitted, and that's what they're looking at. So hopefully here soon we'll, sometime during the next couple months. Originally it was supposed to be November, December, so I'm kind of thinking maybe January, February.
Yeah.
We'll know.
Yeah. God, I pray we get
So-
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sure be nice to see some improvements out there.
some. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than our efforts, it's been stagnant for 20 years, so.
Yeah.
And we've got more than $1 million out there, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it's a well-used facility.
Mhm.
Thank you, Al.
Progress.
Any questions for Al?
Yeah, question of the county. I said it's been several months ago, we made a suggestion to the county that to have the state take a look at the entrance. There's 2 on the fairgrounds, and then there should be some turn lanes in there. That the traffic on it is substantial. As we see it go by there, and there's during the summer there's an activity there with horses quite frequently, moving in and out with the trailers and this sort of thing. So that's with the speed at 70 miles an hour and all of those driveways that go in and out along there, there needs to be some changes in speed and this sort of thing. And you guys have got the authority to go pound on the governor's desk. It might have to do that.
I know, I know we talked about doing a request, and I don't know, I haven't heard anything back from that yet, so I'll check into it.
Okay.
At rodeo, they did have deputies at each end before the rodeo started. And when they let out, they put deputies at 35 miles an hour at each
Yep.
side of the entrances to help. So
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, so I do know I've seen that anyway.
I know it's a bit of a reach, but the sheriff's department does supply security and things like that. The rodeo lets out and you've got thousands of people coming. Is there any way we can help the sheriff's department in those applications? You know, it's not quote-unquote recreation, but it's support of recreation, for
Oh,
safety
sure,
of
that's-
recreation.
They're all going to recreation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's a can of worms that we may regret opening up, but they're in dire need.
Well, and they, because we requested their help for the rodeo this year, and with their budget cuts, they, unbeknownst, they did not help. We had to go to the fire department, we had to talk to Ed Schindel. And the fire guys are the ones that covered that this year. In the past, it's always been the sheriff's office. But, and then Nick mentioned, well, you guys are gonna have to find your own volunteers, and we were tapped out, and we didn't feel competent to handle that task. So we called Ed, and he said, yeah, they would cover for us on Friday and Saturday night, which was a lifesaver.
Doing specifically what?
Directing traffic,
Oh.
slowing traffic and directing traffic.
Oh, so that was
back
the
on
fire
highway.
department.
This year it was.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay.
always been the sheriff's
Yeah.
department in the past, but they wouldn't do it this year because of their budget. So I think that it is a can of worms, but because money was the issue, otherwise they would have. You know, I did ask, you know, could they consider volunteering as a community service, but that wasn't in the cards either. So the fire department volunteered, and otherwise it would have been, it was a big concern of ours. And with that, we also had, the airport allowed us to park on the south side of the runway. We cut the fence, and they allowed us to take parking with the Lions Club directing that traffic. It helped immensely.
Did.
So we're still working with the airport board to see if they'll allow us to do that every year on Friday and Saturday night. The engineering firm said no. The airport board said why not? Because our parking area already is in the flight zone. So that's something that we're still working on with them, but it's a very large concern. Yeah. I mean, when you consider you have the flashing light and then 2 miles you're in town and all those turnoffs like Virgil mentioned, and the death that we had last year at the funeral, it's really concerning, but.
Okay, good discussion.
So is that kind of stuff handled by, like, sheriff's office auxiliary or something? I mean, I know places have
Like a reserve?
people that go out and do that, but they're not necessarily.
Do we still have reserve deputies? Okay.
Yeah, couple. I don't know how many exactly, but they, you know, they have at least 2.
Well, from my point of view, the real way to solve the problem is put turning lanes in and improve the space for each turn. In other words, come out so you're in and out and this sort of thing. And then it's a pretty good sized construction deal, but the traffic in there in the last few years has probably doubled. And that doesn't count the stuff off of the 4-H or the fairground side. And we had one accident there last year, and unless the speed and this sort of thing is reduced to there, we'll probably have some more before it's over. It's, you have to be very careful with it.
Well noted, Virgil, thank you. We're going to move on. Editing the grant application.
Yeah, you requested me to add the sentence that I sent with you, the highlighted section I sent you guys all a copy. It was about usage, so I added that, and if that's okay, then I'll just post it to your website so it's accessible to there.
Yeah, sounds great. Yep. Assistance to the county recreational group. Al, what do you think? You meet with those guys occasionally, don't you?
You mean the board,
Yeah,
Park and Rec's board?
and I presume that's what we're,
And then, yeah, somebody wanted me, yeah, I think Virgil wanted me to put that on there about, I don't know, somebody wanted me to put that on there, helping recreational groups in town. How to help them, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was Virgil or Al or somebody. If not, if we don't know what it is, we can just not talk about it.
that's, I'm not sure what that is either.
I do try to attend as many of the Park and Rec board meetings as I can get to. Partly as sometimes they have questions about what we do and the grants and stuff, and the others because of some of the other things, to just try and be part of their discussions about what they're looking at and stuff like that. I don't remember that topic per se, but you know, they don't hold much money in their coffers, and so they're trying to. Hopefully, I'm not speaking out of turn here, but they're trying to figure out how they fit being a county board. But things like the trails discussion that have gone on, they're not all county trails. And so we've got to be careful in the discussion that we don't try and put them in a position that they're outside of their thing, outside of the county responsibility for trails, dealing with the highways stuff, or if it's just private land. So how those discussions go and how they tie in, and a lot of times I know Jen and Carol now, not in Hatfield, are both on the Trails Committee. So we tried to really tighten that up to make sure that the stuff the Trails plan has in it is stuff that they're looking at and how they're trying to look at things. But they don't have funding, you know. And I've told them, I said, you know, when it comes to trails, people need to look to this board for some of that, either match money or ground money, and like we were just talking about. Somehow, we got to, I think, try and coordinate some kind of effort through that group, through the board and maybe the Trails Committee, BCDC. Somebody has to kind of be in charge of watching over what happens with trails, whether it's BCDC, and they set up some of the financing for annual work, for grant writing, and the long-term maintenance and accounts that they set up and manage, and everybody can feed into that, also pull out of that, along with the trust board or county coffers or city coffers and then other grants. So somebody kind of has to keep a hold of that basket, knowing that, you know, the Park and Recs board, the trust board, all the other organizations in the county could be looking at working on specific segments of trails to get them done and try and keep it all kind of coordinated. Otherwise, my biggest fear is that some of the primary entities in the county that could be talked to about supporting trails programs gets hit by 6 or 7 different people, and it's like the first one in the door gets it. I don't think that's what we want to try and do. We want to try and make sure that there's a coordinated effort to talk to people about, here's what we're looking at, here's timing, here's my things, how sequenced, and keep that all in the basket, so that we're not everybody's not trying to carry their own bucket. You can carry part of it, but it's got to be at least under the purview of being in the bigger basket. I don't know if that all makes sense, but that's my biggest concern. So working with the Park and Recs board and talking with all of you and working with the Trails Committee and BCDC, it's trying to make sure we keep that coordinated and not just let it fall out.
And it all circles up to the people like Denise and Alex and John came in. It takes so much effort on their part. You know, We're here for funding, but it takes their groundwork to do it all.
Yeah.
So
I think
we applaud you for that. That's,
Is that what you're thinking? Maybe, yeah, that's.
it's really easy to do the funding, a lot easier than doing the work, so.
And the pay is so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the other issue with the Parks and Rec is the projects that are wanted, they're doing the Canton, that master plan that you approved for them out there in that Canton Mill Road. The problem with that is it also has to include how are you going to maintain it?
Yeah,
Who is
there's
going to
always-
maintain it and how is it going to be maintained? Because that's out of the city. I can tell you from a city worker that so there's going to be garbage out there. Who's going to pick it up? And I know the county folks that work at the county are already spread pretty thin too. So it's great, these projects, but then who's going to be in charge of them and continue? Because we had that problem with baseball field not following through out there with I think with electrical or something. Just
Yeah, the county's been paying the electrical bill at Connors for the last couple of years.
and that was supposed to be
Oh, at
groups.
Connors?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
And so the Park and Recs Board, in the discussions, who was probably 3 or 4 months ago now, was the discussion of them trying to put together a checklist.
mhm.
Very similar to the checklist that we have in our grant application. That if somebody came to them and said, look, we would like to pursue this project, you say, here's the checklist. You go through this checklist. You may not work with the trust or with the Park and Recs Board. You may not work with the trust board, but whoever you're working with, you need to go through this because these are the questions that if it ever gets beyond just talking, the commissioners, the city council, this trust board are going to ask these questions. And so it's a role for them to play for anybody that's starting to think about doing something. It's like, go to them, they've got their checklist. You follow that checklist. When you get through that with your development of your project, then you can, really start getting teeth into things and getting going, so,
And Parks and Recreation is not a department.
no.
It's under the planning board, so they have no money from the county.
Yeah, their funds come from subdivision fees,
Yeah, subdivision.
which subdivisions in the last few years have like completely come to a screeching halt pretty much, so.
But they're
They-
still a county board, right?
They're still
Yes.
county board,
Okay.
yes.
They're still
They're
board.
just, their funding source has
Yeah.
kind of dried up.
The funds that were allocated to Parks and Recreation via subdivision, so I think we had less than $7,000 in that fund. And that's what we used to establish this board. That was flying Virgil, flying our attorney to Washington DC for testimony. We used those funds in that to get the lobbying done to get this board set up. So the Park Recreation thing was of immense value to us in our establishment.
Weird question, because it seems like there's so many committees, and they're all doing great work, but seems to be one hole, and besides money, is operating and maintenance, O&M.
mhm.
So is there a way that with your expertise and your funding pool and how you guys operate, could you set aside like an O&M side fund?
We don't do maintenance.
I know you don't, but if it's for recreation committees, and if they're, like you said, the subdivision fees aren't, they're not handling what is needed to be done, then there would be this side funding source to keep those recreation departments, whether it's the baseball field, the trails, the whatever, to keep that going, so that they would have to apply for it, but hey, we're on a shortfall, we need this much money over the next 3 years to keep it going until we can get this in place. Yeah, we've set aside some money for that. Or could they just simply apply for a grant? I don't know.
I like your idea of the direction. I'm not sure how to manage it, but if Parks and Recreation would like to pick that up, that's kind of, again, that's kind of a can of worms. Where
Yeah,
does,
we've always not been maintenance. So
Yeah,
how do
we're-
you
yeah.
do that? And then which boards do you, every board every 3 years is up, we're out of money again, just like the golf course. We
Yep.
need golf carts again, that we tell them, you have to set up your own funding to set aside, like the fees for the golf. You take $1 of every time someone pays to play golf to put toward new golf carts in 10 years. So I don't know if that's I don't know.
Yeah.
We have tried to be in the position of enhancing recreation,
Yeah,
not necessarily maintaining
okay.
basic costs that escalate without end into a black hole that really doesn't go to recreation.
Yeah, and Parks and Rec would be kind of on the same side of it. They're not there trying to support the individual entities for the maintenance side of things. They're right. They were really more formed trying to figure out how to utilize the county land that is not being utilized. That was kind of when it originally started working up 2014, 15, 16, some whenever that was. That was kind of their plan, was to try to figure out how to utilize using the 3 entities that were already using it, the gun club, the softball or baseball fields, softball, and the golf course, how it was all gonna kind of work together. So yeah, I don't know how that would work out.
So how will the Trails Committee, let's say they get a trail from here to the fairgrounds built, how will that be maintained? Where will that money come from?
That is the question. We've talked to other organizations that do trails. We've talked to other counties that have trails. In the majority of those counties have a open space bond behind them. So like Allen County, Lewis and Clark County, they have those, so they could draw on those funds then to help with their obligated maintenance of those systems. To the point that the Gallup Valley Land Trust actually carries a endowment fund. And that endowment fund is used to pay and obligate that long-term maintenance for the trails that they're working on. And it's Gallup County, they've been very successful in building a very significant endowment to cover that. They are also greatly expanding their trail system. And if you look at their trail system, what they're trying to do, that's Bozeman to Gateway to Four Corners to Belgrade to Manhattan to Three Forks. That's the skeleton of the system. Within that, subdivisions, again, they've got things with their subdivisions, they require trails, sidewalks, those kind of things as part of their plan. So, I mean, I know there's been discussion with BCDC about there's a need for that kind of an approach within this county if we're going to have be able to answer that question of how are we looking at the long-term maintenance of the trail. And so you set it up so people can put their annual giving money into an endowment that would be used for that, or large donors could put money into an endowment. Or, you know, what Gallup County does is they take a percentage, literally, of every donation they get. Some of that percentage goes in the endowment. So they can build trails, but also knowing that the maintenance isn't today for that trail. Maybe it's 10 years or 15 or 20 years. But if you're building asphalt surface trails, you know it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
We, at one time, I'm gonna call it iced tea money, and it was on when they put a highway in, the county would get almost fringe money for trails, and actually it wasn't even earmarked for trails, we used it for trails. And that's the trail from the paved trail out to Valley Sales. That was federal money that was set aside during highway construction, and the county turned our money over to the city, and then the city was able to install that as part of a highway project. Wonder, is that money still out there?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I haven't heard of anything like that, but
I haven't either.
I can certainly ask the other commissioners that have been here longer and
been
maybe
quite a
talk
while.
with TJ
Yeah.
to see if he knows of anything. So it was money from the federals that came from
Highway.
the highway
construction.
construction.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it wasn't substantial money. I'm thinking 80,000. It wasn't. I know I'm reaching a little bit. Any ideas on the bridge?
No, not specifically. I mean,
We're talking millions,
I-
probably.
we're probably talking, that's the hard part. I mean, I've talked to quite a few engineering firms on the bridge. And most of the estimates I've had are 5 to 10 million.
Yeah.
And so, but, nationally, there are some organizations that fund big projects. You gotta get it put together so that it ticks off all their critical importance. And the grant writing for that kind of thing is gonna be really, really specific. And I know the transportation alternative people in Helen I talked to many times. And their issue, their deal is they have about 5 or 6 critical items. Things like safety, access to schools, access to medical facilities, emergency services. Those kinds of things are things that they look for in their grant stuff. So if we wanted to apply for that for Centerville, or for the Silos Road, or for the Fairgrounds Road, the more of those things you can tick off that this is why this trail is important, then the higher it's gonna rank. And I can tell you, after looking at a few of them right now, the city of Townsend would rank really high. The Silos Road will not rank high on that system. The one to the Fairgrounds will rank partially high. And so it's these things about, what are the emergency evacuation centers? What are they? Where are they? How do you get there? So if the Fairgrounds was an evacuation center for Townsend to get people out there from here, that's going to kick that kind of application up higher. And the fact that it's, most of those, all the transportation alternative ones, they have to be ADA compliant. And that's why talking to them, it's like, well, in the middle of the wintertime here, you got people on wheelchairs having to go down the middle of the street because there aren't any sidewalks a lot of places, or if they are, they're not cleaned off, or they're not safe. So those kind of, he was like, yeah, this is, it's good. So he sent me a copy, and I've shared it with the city of the city of Cascade. They had an assessment done. They put a plan together. They're now in phase, I think, 3 or 4. This current phase is $750,000, and the previous ones were similar. And I think he said there's one more phase they got to go through. That's how you get into that kind of stuff. Yeah, but it takes an engineering firm that has to do that plan, because the highway department people won't. We can all go out and run transects and pull tapes and do all that stuff, but we still won't get there.
Gotta have the stamp.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we've looked at that a long time. It's not unlike Broadwater Bay. That was studied for 30 years, 40 years, well, since 54 that was proposed. And until all the stars aligned.
And that's why the bridge over the river, I mean, yeah, you can look at it and go, you know, it's like, whoa. On the other hand, it's the bridge over the river, and if it's a pedestrian bridge over the river, let's make it one of 5 in the country that shine. And that's how we'll get it. It'll take years to get it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But, you know, if we don't start now, we won't ever get it.
You bet.
Mhm.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, any new business, anything planned in the future? You want on the docket for next time?
Yeah, the Lions Club.
Lions Club?
Oh,
Yep,
the funds, yeah, on the docket.
yep,
Yeah.
we'll get that on there.
Yeah, yeah,
Got that down.
yeah.
Our next meeting is tentatively the 13th. I'm going to be gone the 13th. Following our Tuesday, I'm here the 6th or the 20th.
And Joe and I's our 30th anniversary is on the 13th. We're trying to be gone, but I just see that, it's like,
30th?
isn't it, or 20, how many years? No, I think it's 30.
All right, all right.
How many years? Oh, wow.
So January?
Yeah, January.
You guys want to switch the date on that?
I'd like to.
What you thinking, Al?
What would you like?
I'm
20th?
pretty flexible for January.
You know,
6th?
everybody will be around, let's do the 6th,
January
Be around
6th?
then?
January
Yeah.
6th.
Okay. That would work better.
Okay, sounds great. Good meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, the reports are really good.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thank you guys, have a great Christmas.
Thank you.
Thanks, Denise.
Thanks for hanging in there, Denise.
Are you adjourned?
We're adjourned.
Okay. All right.
Cool.